The Jaws of Life by Brianna McDaniel and Jacob Ezra in the Principles of Engineering class at the King's Academy. Research was done March 14th, 2019, and video was recorded March 17th of 2019. In this first video, I got to interview Captain Edgar Bueno and Ryan. I didn't catch his last name, but he's the driver for the West Palm Beach Fire Department, and he explains the typical facts about the Jaws of Life and how they use it, and a little bit of how it works.
So we have those. It's like a big, huge can opener, more or less than anything else. And that's what we cut the pillars of the car. So you know where your window is, and you have the front pillar and the center. That will cut through all that stuff. As well as we cut doors off, and we can cut the whole side of the car off. And that's what that does. So I think it's like 32,000 foot-pounds per square inch.
Yes, roughly.
Roughly, which is, it's insane.
Okay.
So 32,000 pounds it can squeeze every square inch. So even every little square inch of this is doing 32,000 foot-pounds. So these are very, very, very strong. I mean, they'll pretty much cut through anything, except for some case-hardened steels where you'll have a problem, but those steels are designed to resist things like that. And these will typically break in here before we break the tool. And they're designed to have parts of these break or the bolts break so that way it doesn't destroy the hydraulic unit itself. Because all this is replaceable. That stuff is where it gets expensive.
Okay. In the second video, the alarm went off during the interview, and so they had to leave. It was pretty cool. Firefighters were coming from everywhere, and you could tell once the alarm went off, Ryan's adrenaline kicked in. This happened right after he pulled out the portable engine and was trying to explain how that worked in accommodation to the Jaws of Life.
Power plant. And power plant.
In the third video, Ryan explains how the hydraulic system works in the Jaws of Life before he has to leave, and I have to cut the interview short.
The pump that forces the fluid into this machine, and the fluid doesn't contract or doesn't compress. So water, typically oils are non-compressible. So what happens is it causes these pistons in here to move up or down based upon how much pressure and how much fluid's inside the orifice itself.
Okay.
That helps.
Yes.
I am so sorry. The pump that.
So, getting into the actual device itself, a description of the device would be the Jaws of Life is a highly praised tool owned by all fire departments. Its purpose is to peel through steel on cars in order to remove injured people after a car crash. The department I visited owns two types, a spreader and a cutter. The spreader has the ability to push the frame of a car apart to create a larger opening to get a passenger from stuck in a crushed car, and the cutter can cut through very, very strong steel in cars to make removing the passenger more accessible. The West Palm Beach Fire Department uses Genesis Rescue System spreader SP35A and the cutter S180A. So this is a picture of the portable engine, which you can see on the left is a front view and on the right is a side view. In this picture you can see the reservoir and the pump valve connections. After the next picture I'll explain to you each part. But the Jaws of Life uses a very simple but very strong hydraulic system, similar to a simple DIY project using syringes to multiple forces. The Jaws of Life is this DIY project on steroids. Although the Jaws of Life is meant to be transportable, so not all of its components are connected to one body. It consists of the Jaws of Life itself, a portable motor, and transfer tubes. Picture of how they store the Jaws of Life inside of the fire truck at their fire department. In this picture you can see the cylinder, the pump, and the location of the valve switch, which is below, like in the middle of the tubes and the transfer fluid, where it transfers the fluid to the pump, and the pump is within the cylinder. So in the first picture, the reservoir, the machine that holds the reservoir is called the Mach 3 Outlaw OSC. It has a pressure of 10,500 psi. The mode of function is unknown, and the reservoir is located on the portable engine and pushes fluid through the pump valve and into the Jaws of Life cylinder. The pump, or the compressor, is called the 5 HP Briggs and Stratton compressor. It is located in the cylinder of the tool. After the compressor receives the fluid, it compresses it, increasing its force, and that force is then transferred to the jaws as rotational motion. The valve is located on the portable engine and on or at the end of the Jaws of Life where the pumps attach. These valves control the flow and pressure of the fluid sent to the compressor. And the cylinder is made out of steel. It is located between the jaws itself and the valves. The cylinder contains the pump piston and keeps it protected from the outside. It also holds the fluid using its size to increase force. Better picture of the location of the valve switch, which is within the end of the cylinder, and this is the thing that controls the flow and pressure of the fluid that gets pumped into the cylinder from the portable engine. This is a picture of the cutter, a better picture, which is the version that the West Palm Beach Fire Department uses, called the S180A, and the other thing that model of the Jaws of Life that they use is the spreader SP35A. The cutter cuts through steel, and the spreader spreads open the steel. The picture that I got off of the West Palm Beach Fire Department's Facebook. As you can see here, the Jaws of Life has taken off the entire top part of the car and removed the doors. And the example of how they hold the Jaws of Life and it being used. So the Jaws of Life is an electro-hydraulic system. It has a spreading distance of 620 millimeters and a pulling distance of 540 millimeters. Its lowest spreading force is 87.7 kilonewtons, and its highest spreading force is 115.5 kilonewtons. Its average pulling force is 99 kilonewtons, and it has a weight of 23 kilograms. The jaws exert a pressure of about 32,000 psi, or 32,000 pounds per square inch. The Jaws of Life can cut through most steel except ones built not to be destroyed, and it is known as a car can opener because it easily peels through steel. The cutter is used to cut through very strong metal like the frames of cars, and the spreader is used to push strong pieces of metal apart. The video that I got off of YouTube, it shows how the Jaws of Life can cut through this 2 to 3 inch piece of steel like it's nothing. So this is a picture that I got to take with Captain Edgar Bueno, which is on the left, and Ryan, who is on the right. Before I saw the Jaws of Life in person, I thought it would have been smaller, but it was not. It was about the size of an average person's abdomen. It was huge. I did not think much about the importance of it until I was informed of its purpose and how strong the jaws were. The jaw's strength is incredible. The way it was engineered so that a mechanical machine controls the input force for the hydraulic system was genius. Since it is electrohydraulic, the Jaws of Life can have a greater output force. One thing the Jaws of Life does well is increasing the strength to an unimaginable amount, 32,000 pounds per square inch. The only thing that could be changed about the device is finding a way to connect the reservoir and engine to the actual Jaws of Life, or a second improvement could be reducing the weight of the Jaws of Life.